We are getting ready to see some renovations at the Alamo Dome after the busiest 3 months they've had there in some time, a number of concerts. Joining us to tell us what's going on at the Dome and what's going to happen at the Dome as we get ready for the 30th anniversary is Richard Oliver, who is the communications manager for the Alamo Dome as well as the Convention Center. Thanks for joining us. Good to see you again.
30 years, you were five. You were five when this
I was covering the Alamo Dome when it opened and even before then with the architects and things like that. But it's amazing that it's been here. We don't realize how much, first of all, let's get into how much it has brought to the city.
Yeah.
You know, it was very controversial at first. Some people said, the white elephant. Some people say it's still, that never made us any money. What do you tell people?
I tell people all the time, you know, when you talk about quality of life at San Antonio and the things that we've been able to bring in because that Alamo Dome is there, it's astounding. I mean, you've been at how many events over the years? I joke all the time, and I think there's been enough confetti dropped from the rafters over the years to cover the Alamo,
yes.
and I don't think I'm too far off on that. I mean, we have a lot of dreams have been made inside that facility, and I think a lot of people who live in San Antonio have seen things happen and have experienced things in their lives.
But economically, that's the argument some people have made.
Yeah.
But it's paid for itself how many times over in terms of other development, other money brought in?
Right. Well, yeah, you talk about the Final Fours. We'll have our 5th one coming up in 2025. You talk about UTSA football, Big League Weekend. Go back over your checklist of events that have come in that have been able to drive revenue. You talked about just the last 3 months. Let's just talk about that. Those 4 concerts, Elton John, Bad Bunny, Poison, Motley Crue, Def Leppard, all of those coming in drove 200,000 people through the doors of the Alamo Dome and $27 million in gross revenues. That it's a catalyst for economic impact, not to mention the folks who come in and enjoy San Antonio's downtown before or after.
At an original cost, as I remember, something like $179 million in those years.
Paid off within a year.
And tell us about what's going to happen in the next year or two before the next Final Four.
Yep. Well, one of the great catalysts of having a Final Four in is they come in and say, boy, we'd sure like to have a few improvements in X, Y, and Z, and that's what's going to happen with the Alamo Dome. $23 million, part of a $109 million long-range capital plan for the Alamo Dome. They're going to be doing everything. We're going to be adding, most notably, 18 new suites, which will give 70 suites in the Alamo Dome to be able to accommodate. We found that all the shows that come in, they want more suites. This will be a great way to do that. Also, the 52 existing suites are going to be upgraded, renovated. Also, restrooms, some of the upper-level concourses, concessions. I could go through a whole checklist, obviously, of the things that are going to happen, but it's going to be a better place. And in the long run, over the next 6 years, those improvements are going to help the Alamo Dome be more competitive or as competitive and extend the life of the facility.
And it still didn't bring us the NFL team that we had all hoped for. Won't bring us that team, even with the suites. What does it look like compared to all the other new stadiums? You got LA and even the Cowboy Stadium, whatever there is out there. We shouldn't be expecting it to do that.
No, I don't think so. I don't think by design, I don't think the Alamo Dome is now capable of handling an NFL franchise. Certainly, we talk about 70 suites. Those billion-dollar Taj Mahals now that they're being built are complexes. The Alamo Dome's not going to have that. It may have the bones, but getting it to that point would be very complicated.
And as we talk about this in a few minutes, we're going to talk with Michael Taylor of the Express News about the baseball stadium plans for downtown. And some people are saying, well, the Alamo Dome, you know, is an example of why we shouldn't be spending any public money for a baseball stadium. The AT&T Center. What would you say to people like that?
I would argue it. You know, part of the cost that goes into these kind of things. Let's just talk about the seismic ramifications in your community. Businesses that come in, they want to bring their employees in. They want a place that has a quality of life and has offerings beyond the workplace. San Antonio has that with the AT&T Center and the concerts there and certainly the Alamo Dome. And baseball, if they do bring a stadium downtown, we have the most walkable, beautiful downtown in America. I'll stack it up maybe around the world. These are complements to each other. I think when the NCAA comes in and says we want to put a Final Four at the Alamo Dome, it's not because the Alamo Dome is this, again, a Taj Mahal like Jerry World up in Arlington, but it's part of the big package. It's downtown. Hey, we could go park at our hotel downtown. We could walk everywhere.
I walked from UTSA's campus the night of the Elton John concert. Probably got there as quick as a lot of people who drove because it was just downtown. People like, well, you walked across downtown, walked through Hemisphere. It was a great night.
Beautiful.
But it's hard to convince people, some of them, about, I don't want to park around the dome. I don't know. What do you tell people about that?
Well, I would tell them, you go to some other communities and go to some other big shows and some other big places, you're going to walk. It's all about parking and all these different things. And San Antonio, at least when you're walking from wherever you've got to park to get to a big event like an Elton John concert, you're going to walk a bit. At least you're walking through a beautiful river walk and downtown and restaurants and everything else. We've got the whole package here, Randy, and it's a beautiful thing.
In the meantime, there's going to be a little construction at the Dome, but we can still go to concerts. Is Bad Bunny coming again?
Bad Bunny would like to come again.
I missed Bad Bunny the first time.
54,000 people.
Elton John was worth it.
Yeah.
Richard Oliver, thank you very much. The communications manager for the Alamo Dome and the Convention Center. Appreciate it. Come back when we have more development.